Hello, my name is Samantha, and today I'm going to be giving this presentation on my research proposal for the project that will be conducted on intimate partner violence. So this project will involve determining the rate of co-occurrence between in-person and cyber psychological intimate partner violence in Australian adults. The overall study will look at both victimisation and perpetration. However, this project specifically will be focusing on the rate of perpetration. The project will also be looking at gender differences as well as the prevalence rates for two different age groups, which will be young adults, so 18 to 24, and then adults, which is 25 plus. So intimate partner violence, which I will be referring to as IPV throughout the rest of this presentation, refers to the physical, psychological, sexual, financial, spiritual, or cyber abuse by an intimate partner that causes harm, whether this be psychologically or physically or sexually, doesn't matter. According to an article conducted on intimate partner violence in 2005, they state that violence is the intentional infliction of physical or psychological injury on a person or persons. And for the purpose of this study, we'll be looking specifically at psychological IPV. So the prevalence rates of IPV, both globally and Australian-wide, are listed on the screen for you. And as you can see, it is quite a prevalent issue. And this is a topic that needs more current research, especially in Australia, and especially when looking at the co-occurrence between the two IPVs. So why is it important to study? As I said, there is a large amount of research on the two different IPVs, but not their association and how perpetrators may be using cyber platforms to continue the in-person psychological violence when they're not physically with their partners. Also, it's also important because this is the first study conducted in Australia looking at this topic. So it's important to have these findings in order to help Australian victims and stop the perpetrators. So in terms of my research question, I've decided that it's going to be, are perpetrators of in-person psychological IPV using cyber networking sites as another form of psychological abuse? And in terms of my aim, it will be to determine whether there is a co-occurrence between cyber and in-person IPV and whether perpetrators are using the cyber networking platforms as extra methods to continue their abuse rather than just a single method of abuse. So in terms of the actual study, the inclusion criteria is listed on the screen for you. And it's important to note that this study is voluntary and is anonymous, so we won't know who the people are, and the participants can leave the study at any time, and the survey will take around 15 to 20 minutes to conduct. In terms of potential risks, there always are potential risks when a study is dealing with a topic that is as sensitive as intimate partner violence. So there will be a plain language statement at the very beginning of the study, and then different helplines available if anyone is experiencing IPV at that current time or has in the past. In terms of measures, the survey will begin with 17 different demographic questions, which are listed on the screen for you. The project will also be working with the conflict tactics scale and the cyber aggression in relationship scale, which are listed on the screen for you as well. In terms of design, these are the sequences that we would run. So correlations, a logistic regression analysis, and then an ANOVA to examine the gender differences. And in terms of the sample size, so the sample size required to achieve 0.8 power for analysis is 202, which we have a equation listed on the screen as to how we've got that. In terms of the timeline, this is the timeline proposed. It would take over, the study would be conducted over 3 different teaching periods, including the one that we're currently in at the moment. And these are the references that I use for my presentation. So thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed it.